Off Work Sports. What's up? Late at night, 11:30 Eastern Standard Time. I want to talk about what makes a max player, and this is going to drive into Mr. Jimmy Butler. There's a couple of things you look for if you're going to give a guy max money, in my opinion, as a GM. You break it down into two facets. Either he has had proven success and is entering his prime, which I think is 26 to 27 years old, a la maybe a Kyrie Irving, right? A Russell Westbrook type of player, a James Harden. You go, okay, he is now reaching, he is in his peak. I'm going to pay this guy. He's proven himself through the years. Or I go to the other side, a younger talent at 22, 23, who has done a little bit for himself in the NBA and is showing some potential, enough potential to say, I got to lock this guy up because his growth trajectory is such that if we let him go now or make it one of these things where we don't sign him early, he could leave us and we could probably get him for cheaper now. And then you give him, okay, let's give him the max contract according to the bylaws right now, right? Because everything changes with the collective bargaining agreements every so often come up, and then things changes with the salary cap. However, let's get into a guy that has had success in the NBA, a career average around, the third option. Let's come back again. The third guy is a LeBron James, right? This guy has already had proven success, has had a max contract. He's going to bring in revenue in some type of way. He's a good character, or he has a shoe brand. He's on TV. Those are guys who are going to bring in money, so you sign them for the money. All right. There's LeBron James. He's the greatest player right now in the NBA, but let's say he was maybe 6th on the list and doesn't deserve the money. You still pay him because he's LeBron James, right? It's like Michael Jordan that 1 year with the Wizards. You got to pay the guy, all right? Let's get into Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler. Out of those three things, what does Jimmy Butler have? Think about it. Has he led any team to the playoffs? You could argue Chicago Bulls was something that happened and he did some work there with the Chicago Bulls. You could argue that. Yeah, I could see that. Derrick Rose was with them. You could see a little action there. They had Oki Heinrich and those guys. Yeah, Jimmy Butler was kind of leading the motion at that time. But they had other players, They had other players there. And I always say the players that he had on the Bulls was actually a little bit worse than what he has currently on the Timberwolves. So, why did he leave or want out of that action? He wanted to win a title was my thought, right? And he averaged 22, 5, and 5 last year with the Minnesota Timberwolves. He's approaching 30 years old. And you go, he's kind of midway through his prime. He maybe has 3 years left. He's not really an explosive talent, right? One guy, he falls in that Paul Millsap range, in my opinion. It's like, I gotta pay him, because there's no one else here. He's a second option to me right now because he hasn't proven he can take a team with great young talent. He had a lot of talent last year. The Timberwolves had they should have been a playoff team. There's no reason why the Denver Nuggets should have took a playoff spot from the Minnesota Timberwolves, right? There's no way in hell, right? With D Rose and all those talents, they had a great run last year. They had Jamal Crawford. Rockets gave him a good run for their money. They did what they needed to do with the talent that he had, right? But why, Jimmy? Why, Jimmy, do you want to leave again with all the talent? I mean, there's some outside factors going on. I heard about this little, these things I don't like to get into because I want to be fact-based. I want to talk about basketball. But sometimes they come into play. We talked about a generational guy like a LeBron James who has not that many character issues, not as many. But Jimmy, you want the max contract? And the shenanigans I'm hearing that are being pulled by Jimmy Butler, are they true or not? Could be rumors. You know how rumors are. You go to your job, we're off work. We go to work. Plant rumors, office rumors. right? They can spread like a virus and can be untrue. However, Jimmy Butler transitioned through multiple teams, and there's been multiple occasions where they talk about Jimmy Butler's attitude. Okay, so now I was pitching for Jimmy Butler to get that dough. I said he's worth more than Otto Porter. Minnesota offered him $100 million. He thought he needed more. So Jimmy now has to be in the perfect character role. He has to be 22, 5, and 5 are good statistics. Right? It's not bad. He's a Rich Hamilton if you want me to go back. Detroit Pistons with more defense. He has an okay mid-range game. He can create his own shot. A little bit too much ISO. But his stats are okay. Career average of 16. Don't look at that because this has been his wonder years, right? The Bulls coming out party was his wonder years, and his averages started to go up. He started being the main guy. But he has Wiggins. He has Cat, right? Then they're going to lose Crawford, right? They re-signed Derrick Rose. They got Jeff Teague. They got a pretty compliant center. I mean, I like their team. Pretty good, Jimmy. But now he wants the max money. But if you want the max money, you got to say, what am I getting to give this guy a 7-year max deal at 29 years old, and he'll be 36? Clippers, what do you say? Are you saying he's better than the trio that you just traded for in Detroit? Is he better than that? Huh? Is he better? Is he better than the trio from Detroit? Right? Because, Detroit had a couple players that came up. That's the Clippers move that he's trying to make. The Miami Heat, what are you going to give up, Miami? You're going to give up Winslow and a couple young guys for Jimmy Butler? For Jimmy Butler? I don't know. You give him max deal. Then you look at the Brooklyn Nets. Okay. That's the only spot I can see them paying you because they always, they just don't do smart things. Right? Last time they were smart, shout out to Jersey, was when they was in Jersey. I mean, the rest of the moves are like, okay, him, Russell, Butler, all right, get them to the playoffs, right? The East is weak. I think he can get them to the playoffs. That's probably his best option is the Brooklyn Nets from a career perspective. LA Clippers, he's not winning no titles. I mean, he's gonna sink and disappear. They talk about Kawhi Leonard. Him and Kawhi Leonard, Butler and Kawhi Leonard are not taking you anywhere past the first round in the Western Conference. I'm sorry. Kawhi is in a better situation now in the East than he is if he goes back to the West. Unless he goes to the Lakers, right? There's no other option for him. Jimmy Butler, is he worth a max deal? I thought he was, but the character issues, 22, 5, and 5, historically, can get you a mid-max deal, not a max deal. I'm not paying Jimmy Butler a full max deal from what I've just heard. An NBA player with that much conflict off the floor, you have to question his true motivation. And basketball, is he just playing games, or was he teaching a lesson to his fellow teammates? That could be. I understand that, but you're talking about character here. You're not playing for yourself. Yes, NBA is just a basketball game. I know the off-court stuff is not supposed to matter. However, you are being paid because you're an image for a company. I never looked at it like that, but as I get older, I get it. My opinions are not meant for everybody. So, when I work my job, I cannot be any way I want to be. I'm being paid because the company has an image they want to maintain. They're trying to be state neutral. So stay neutral. 22, 5, and 5. Jimmy Butler's best option is the Brooklyn Nets. I don't think he makes the Miami Heat any better than they are. I think he actually downgrades them. They have some development players that I like that I think are going to do well. Do they have a need for the small forward position? Yes. I think they can do better in the draft. I say they tank and go to the draft and go pick somebody up. Okay. Next option is the Clippers. Clippers, okay, you want to get paid. You want to do that 2-1-2. They could possibly end up, remember Larry Hughes and Gilbert Arenas. I'm not saying the same type of style players. That kind of year with the Wizards, maybe one great year and they tee off and they may make the playoffs. However, for me, the Brooklyn Nets is his best option, or re-signing with the Timberwolves, sending an apology letter to your teammates and stating, I'm not going to be a diva, and I will not involve myself in any conflict with interpersonal affairs. his best option may be the Wolves, but the Wolves are not going to be able to pay him anymore. So he's going to have two options, and I think it's going to be Brooklyn or the Clippers. I don't like the Heat, even though Riley's going hard for him, but we have to look at the character issues. How is he going to play on these other teams? How is he going to fit in with these other teams? I'm not going to question his on-court ability. The guy works hard. You can see it. He goes in. He goes hard to the paint. But from a statistical perspective, 29 years old, not a super athletic guy, not somebody that's going to bring seats in the table. He's a mid-tier player. Is he a max guy? Question yourself. As a GM, it's tough. But Jimmy, I love you as a player. I don't think you're going to get that max deal like you wanted. And only if Riley's really that hungry, and I think he is. But what does he do for the Heat? You got to question it. What happens there? Playoffs, definitely. The East is done. So, yeah, you're going to make the playoffs. But championship aspirations, there'll be none there. So, off work, I'm signing off, just talking about salary caps and Jimmy Butler and off-court issues and how they play with a company. You're in a company now, brother. This NBA is a company. It is what it is. Your personal life is not yours because you're in the upper tier, in the media eye, for showmanship. Essentially, you basically an actor, man. You're an actor, and you got to act all day long until you're out of the league. And that's just what it is when you join that league. And I apologize for him for not being able to live his life, but it is what it is. You got to play with your teammates. You got to adhere. You got to make those millions of dollars. And if he was a perfect citizen, yes, I would give him a max deal, a la Mike Conley from Grizzlies, who I don't think deserved it, but got it. But he's a perfect character guy. Now, did Jimmy hurt himself? Yes, he did. These rumors are flying too fast, too high. He hurt himself. However, if Riley wants him, he needs to push for that trade and go over to the Heat. I don't know what that does for the Heat necessarily. Brings them maybe into the second round of the playoffs. But what are you going to give up to get him? That's my worry, right? They got Whiteside. They got some nice young guards. I like their talent pool, but I think you're going to hurt some development when you bring Butler in. So if you're trying to win now with Wade, that's fine. For the long term, it's going to hurt you. I say Jimmy Butler right now is a $150 million guy. He shouldn't be getting anything over $30 million a year over a 5-year period anymore. 140 is good enough, and that's where we're going to leave it. I'm ranting too much. So peace out. Off Work Sports talking about Jimmy Butler's next move. Trade to the Bulls, trade to the Heat, trade to the Nets, or trade to the Clippers. Sounds like the three teams he's going to go to. Heat looks like the one that won him the most. So we're out. Peace. Peace out, Timberwolves. Damn.